Hello. How are you today? I think I'm live. Hello, hello. So, today's topic has shifted a little bit. If you saw the event that was posted, the planned topic for today was how to do a time audit. And while that is a very important message for me to share and an important tool for you that I will absolutely come back to in a future week, it just didn't really feel like it fit today. I'm just feeling a little off today, and we all have those days. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're just going to kind of dig in a little bit to things to do, things that I do when you're having a day that doesn't feel quite right. When you have a plan, you know what you should be doing or what you want to be doing, and it just kind of doesn't go the way you want to, because I know that we all have those days, every single person. Maybe you're having one of them today. Maybe you had one of those days yesterday. So first, I just want to let you know you're not alone. We all go through it. We're going to talk about it today. And I am going to bring it around for you too to some ways that the systems and routines that I have set up in my life support me when things are not going quite the way I'd like. All right? So, welcome. Grab something cozy to wear and a cup of coffee or tea or whatever you have. I put a little hot chocolate powder and some extra almond milk in my coffee this afternoon, and it's really delightful. So, all right. If you are just meeting me, hello. I'm Jenna of J-Lane Virtual Solutions, and I help women create systems and routines and rhythms and get organized in both their home and their business so that things run more smoothly, so that you're not carrying as much of the mental load, and so that you free up time and energy for the things that bring you joy and make you feel fulfilled. So I'm so happy you're here. If you're watching either live or later as a replay, say hello in the comments. And we're just kind of going to dive in today. So we know that things don't always go as planned, right? And one of the foundational things that I teach when it comes to planning and laying out your week, laying out your schedule, blocking your time is that we always want to leave blank space in that plan. We always want to leave room for flexibility, because we never know when something's going to come up that might throw you off course a little bit. And especially if you're a mom, those things happen a lot, right? And beyond that, I know that you're taking care of a lot of different people, right? You're taking care of your kids. You're taking care on some level of maybe a spouse or partner. Maybe you even have extended family or parents that you're caring for. And as a business owner, you're caring for your clients. You're showing up for your audience. You're giving to your people, your clients, your audience, whoever it is that you are connecting with on a daily basis, right? And so part of this is that we want to make sure that just as you're caring for other people, you're caring for yourself too. So I would always encourage people, when you're planning out your day and your week, that you're leaving blocks of time for yourself, for, exercise, or just for taking a break, journaling, meditation, therapy, whatever it is that you're doing to take care of yourself and make sure that you can keep going on. But sometimes, even when we're doing those things, we just have a day or a couple of days where we're in a funk, and we can't just kind of like power through, or we don't want to power through our regular list and just like act like a machine, right? Because systems are wonderful, but they are not going to turn you into a robot. You are still going to be a human person, I am still a human person, right? And so we can plan our days and our weeks in a way that allows space for that, right? So that's one of the things that I really want to talk about today. And I also want to talk about some of the things that I consider or do when I'm kind of in that low state. So I'm sharing this all with you just as another human person who goes through low periods sometimes, who has a lot of anxious feelings sometimes. And yes, even though I have plans and systems, I feel really stressed and overwhelmed by things sometimes. And so I want to share some tools with you that work really well for me. I am not a therapist or a counselor or a mental health professional of any kind, but I still hope that some of these might give you a little bit of extra support at the times when you need it. So there are a few things that, actually, I'm just going to say, well, I'll come back to that. So there are a few things that I come back to every time when I'm feeling really anxious or overwhelmed or stressed, right? So one thing is just doing a little bit of journaling, dumping some thoughts out, and trying to figure out maybe where it's coming from. So I'm going to tell a little story about several years ago, almost 10 years ago now. My oldest son will be turning 10 very soon, when I was a new mom. And when I was pregnant with my first son, I was having some heart palpitations during my pregnancy. I told my OB about it. She said, that's actually pretty common. If it's still happening after the baby comes, let's look into it, right? So we moved to where we live now, out of state. We moved from Minnesota to Pennsylvania when my son was about 6 months old, and I was still having these heart palpitations. So I went to my primary care doc. They put me on a heart monitor. It was not a big deal. Everything was, benign and fine. But they asked me, do you have anxiety? And I said, well, no. And I find this humorous because I was a psychology major, but I did not recognize this in myself. And it took me a long time to kind of realize that that was actually what was going on, because we had just moved halfway across the country to a place where we had no family nearby. We had no friends. We didn't know anybody. Money was tight at the time. I was a new mom. Of course I was feeling anxious. Of course I was. And so that kind of led me to a journey of, learning tools to deal with that, working with a therapist, learning a ton from her about different tools that we can use to manage, and also recognizing the signs in myself. So all that to say, sometimes I notice things in my body before I notice them in my mind. So the last couple of days I've been noticing some things about me that I was like, oh, I think maybe I have a little bit of anxiety or stress going on. I wonder why that could be. And then I started to write things down, and I was like, no wonder, right? I have a new offer out in my business. I've been talking about new things. I've been meeting new people, which has been fun, but as an introvert, not always necessarily the easiest. My son's birthday is in a week and a half. We're throwing him a real kid party for the first time. I'm the head mom on both of my kids' Valentine's Day parties at school. All of these things are happening within 2 weeks of each other. And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm kind of anxious and stressed, right? So sometimes when you write those things down, it's like, oh, duh, no wonder I'm stressed out. And it also just kind of, you don't need permission to feel however you're feeling, but it's kind of yeah, okay, no wonder. Yes, I need to take a beat here and figure out what I can do to not just survive these next couple of weeks, but to be able to enjoy these events that I'm doing, because I'm planning these parties and doing these things for my kids because I like to, because I enjoy it and I like to be a part of it. And so I want to make sure that I'm in a place to be able to do that. So doing a little bit of just journaling or brain dumping, try to figure out where it's coming from. What is it that's stressing you out? And this is a huge part of the early work that I do with clients, because when we are setting up systems, whether it's for your home or your business, the ones that are going to be the most beneficial to you right away are going to be the ones that address your biggest stressor. So even before a client signs on to work with me, even in our first conversation, in that first free call, that's what we're going to be talking about is, okay, where are you feeling the most stressed out? What's feeling really messy? What is it that you feel like you can't stop thinking about? Like it's just constantly swirling around in your head. And that's where we're going to start putting some structure in place to lighten that mental load, right? So this is it's just such a valuable thing. And I know everyone talks about it. If your brain's feeling noisy, just do a brain dump, get your thoughts out on paper, and it all makes so much more sense. And then I also try to really listen to my body to let me know what will make me feel better the fastest, I guess. Like fast isn't the goal, but there are times when a run or a long hike or some kind of physical activity is what really makes me feel better. There are also times when I just need to lay down and take a nap, and that's what makes me feel better, right? There are times when I want something to distract me. I want to put on some music, or I want to put on a funny TV show or an entertaining podcast to distract me from what's going on. And there are other times when I need to be in a quiet place so that I can sort through what I'm thinking and I can quiet the noise that's in my own mind. So only you will know what feels right for you to do. And sometimes it's trial and error. And the more I have practiced this, the more I'm able to tell, okay, I think what I really need right now that would help is this. And if that first thing I think of helps, great. If it doesn't, then let's move on and try something else, right? So some of those things might be journaling, meditating, moving, exercising my body, putting on music. Today I put a balancing blend in my oil diffuser and put some music on while I was kind of doing my brain dump and then just kind of sat for a little while. But it's a different thing every time. It's a different thing for every person, right? The key is figuring out what some of those go-tos are for you and being able to do that. And then the other thing, especially if journaling and the brain dump was part of that for me, is prioritizing. So for me right now, part of that stress is that I have a lot of different things going on. There are a lot of different moving parts in there, and I'm afraid I'm going to forget something. I'm afraid everything's not going to be done in time. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? We've all been there, especially with kids. There are seasons and months and weeks of life that are just way busier than your normal day-to-day. So I always have a plan for the week, a plan for the day, but sometimes that plan has to change. So today we have to prioritize and figure out, okay, what actually needs to get done today? What's most important to me to get done today? And is there one thing I can do that will help me make progress on one of these things that I'm stressed about? And is there one thing I can let go of? Okay, and I'm going to share with you what those were for me today. So just before I hit record on this video, I was supposed to have been at a virtual networking event. And virtual networking events are something that I've just really started doing in the last month. I really love them. I've met a lot of really great people, and I was signed up for one today at noon. But I could not go to that today at noon. It did not feel like a good idea. It did not feel like a good thing to do. I went to an event yesterday that was amazing. I had a great time. I have been to the group today before, and it was amazing. And I was really looking forward to it today. But the truth is, I was just not in a mental space to meet new people and be social, and especially as an introvert, that is not something that was going to recharge me. I knew it was something that even if everyone in there was wonderful and lovely, which I know they would be, it was still going to be something that drained me a little bit, and I could not be further drained today. Because another thing that I've come to realize as an introvert, like we recharge when we're alone, right? Extroverts kind of recharge when they're with others. Introverts kind of recharge when they're by themselves or, maybe one-on-one with people, things like that. I have come to realize that the weekends are not my time to recharge. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I just want you to come with me, especially if you identify as being kind of introverted. Because for a long time, I felt like I was doing the weekend wrong because at the end of the weekend, I was exhausted and drained. And I thought I was supposed to be rested and recharged for the week. But the truth is, I have 2 little boys and a high energy dog, and my husband lives here too, but he's not as chaotic and loud as the rest of them. And so on the weekends, my house is loud. And we've got activities and we've got people running around and jumping off of things and the dog is barking and we're going to basketball games and, we're doing all the things. And so no wonder I'm tired at the end of the weekend. And then when Monday comes and my kids go to school and my husband goes to work and I have the house to myself and I can hear my own thoughts again, that is when I recharge. And so what I also realized today was that, hey, it's Thursday afternoon. So if I want to feel recharged and ready to go into the wild, crazy weekend, and I'm feeling a little bit run down right now, then my job over the next couple of days is to take a little extra time to rest and do what I need to do to prepare for the weekend. All right. So all that to say, sometimes prioritizing means that you are letting go of something. I wanted to go to the networking event. It's great for me to meet new people, but I knew that it wasn't going to give me what I needed today in terms of my energy. Okay, it's easier for me to show up here and be here by myself talking to you in sort of my own bubble. And that's important. That's something that I'm committed to doing as well. I'm committed to showing up every week for you, and I'm committed to showing up every week for me, right? So, and then the one thing that I chose to do was that one of my son's birthday presents is going to be kind of a redo of his room. So I went in and I actually looked at all the walls, the furniture, like where are things going to go? What is the list of things that actually needs to be done when I go in to do that project? And it made me feel a lot more prepared for that. So far, what we've gone through is kind of getting to the root of where your stress is coming from, okay? Figuring out one thing that might make you feel a little bit better, whether it's music or quiet meditation or reading or moving your body or taking a nap, okay? Doing one thing to make yourself feel better. And then looking at your schedule and your plan for the day and saying, okay, what's one thing that will help me make progress on this thing that's stressing me out, and what's one thing today that I can just let go of? All right, and then when you do that, remembering to give yourself that grace, because again, we are not robots, we're humans, we feel differently every day, our day flows differently every day, even when we have a structure around it. And it's okay. It happens to all of us. That's why I'm here talking about it, because I know that anyone who's watching this right now has had this experience, and it's easy for us to want to push through and be like, no, I have to get everything on my list done. I have to go, go, go. I'll rest when I'm done. And you just don't have to, okay? There are going to be some things in your day that you will have to do even if you don't want to, right? But there are also pretty much always going to be some things in your day that are optional that you can use some of that flex with, right? Figuring out what is most valuable and helpful to you and leaning into those tasks and letting go of some of the things that can wait a day. A lot of things can wait a day, right? And that is the beauty of having a regular structure, I believe, around your daily life. Because I was able to look at my schedule today and see, okay, well, I have to do this, I have to do this. I could put this off, I could skip this. And knowing what's there and what the priorities already are, and knowing that I built in time to my day where I could just take a break. I had built in a lunch break for myself. I did my lunch break, I took a break, and I was like, oh, still not quite back yet. So I would love to hear from you. What is something that when you're kind of in a funk or when you're kind of feeling overwhelmed, what's something that you do that sort of helps bring you out of it, helps you bring you back to life a little bit or feel a little bit more grounded? I would love to hear what some of those tools are that work for other people as well and share those. And then I'd also love to invite you to book a call with me, because if this is something where there's stuff in your house that feels overwhelming all the time, or there's stuff in your business that feels overwhelming all the time, if you feel like your to-do list is floating around in your head, if you're feeling like you can't turn off your work brain when you're done, when you want to be present with your kids, we can create systems and structure around those things that create more flexibility for you, that let you know, like, oh, I know I have this thing coming up and there are a lot of moving parts, but I already have a plan for it. I have timelines on it. I know that I have everything I need in place to get it done by the time it needs to be done, right? Having that structure, it feels kind of like a security net, right? Where it's okay if you forget something in your own brain because you've got it somewhere else. You've got it on a Trello board or you've got it on your calendar, and you know that it is there for you, that there's something else holding it so that you don't have to. And that's what I really want. There is a lot of mental load that comes with both business and motherhood, and I want to help relieve some of that for you so that you can be more present on whatever it is that you want to be present for in the moment, and that you have more pockets of time in your day where you can just be, where you can just take a break, or where you can do something that makes you happy, that makes you feel good. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to talk to you. You can book a free 45-minute call with me. I will put the link in the comments. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a nice weekend. And that whether you recharge during the week or on the weekend, depending on your personality and your life, that you get a chance to rest and recharge over these next few days and really feel like yourself. All right. Bye.